the pursuit call. Suspect vehicle was last seen heading north near the power station. Containment will be set up ahead of his last known direction of travel. This call is still code 6.
Another deadly weekend on city streets. At least 9 people have died and 40 more have been wounded in shootings since Friday night.
To give an update on a deadly shooting inside a Florida bank.
Crime Stoppers has launched an operation to track down Australia's 20 most wanted fugitives.
Suspect northbound near the Omega power station.
I'm a hard worker. I set high goals and I've been told that I'm persistent. Now, I'm not fooling myself. Having been raised with the self-esteem movement so popular in schools, I used to expect my needs to be considered, but I know that these days, our culture no longer caters to the job loyalty that could be promised to earlier generations.
I've got the reported party on view. Code 3 chase. A driver spotted me.
What I believe is that good things come to those who work their asses off, and that people such as yourself who reach the top of the mountain didn't just fall there. My motto is, if you want to win the lottery, you have to make the money to buy the ticket.
Los Angeles denizen Louis Bloom survives by scavenging and petty theft. He stumbles into a new career as a camperman and, armed with a camcorder and a police scanner, begins nocturnal forays across the city in search of shocking and grisly crimes. When he catches the eye of a shop-worn news director who welcomes the chance to raise her station's ratings, Louis goes to increasingly greater lengths to catch the money shot. Welcome to another feature presentation of Midnight Double Feature, and on this episode, we're going to be covering 2014's Nightcrawler, written and directed by Dan Gilroy.
Colin, I'm feeling evil today, man. This movie's rubbed off on me in the wrong ways. I wanna go out and commit some fucking voyeurism.
I didn't know you could ever be rubbed the wrong way. So that's something I learned today.
That's true. I can only be rubbed the right way. Guys, welcome back to Midnight Double Feature. We are covering Dan Gilroy and Jake Gyllenhaal's Nightcrawler today. This was my pick, so I'm really keen to get into this, man. But before we do so, we've got a little bit of housekeeping to do. So obviously, if you've joined us, you're listening to our feature presentation right now, which is one of our episodes where we pick a movie and we work our way through it. We make silly jokes, we laugh about it, but sometimes, occasionally, we get a little bit deeper. Sometimes I think maybe we'll be doing that a little bit on this episode, but I can't make any promises. So
yeah, this won't be the rundown.
No. This by the way, this week we are covering good movies. We're back to covering good movies. All right, so just wanted to reassure you guys.
That should just be our first thing of merch. Midnight Double Feature. Sometimes we cover good shit.
That's our official tagline. So because we are going through the entire movie, kind of scene by scene, we want to issue a spoiler warning. Obviously, we can't do this thing without spoiling the damn movie. So, for all you snowflakes out there who haven't seen this movie, go check it out. It's pretty damn good. I'm showing my cards early. It's pretty fucking good. And you definitely don't want to be listening to this if you haven't seen it. So definitely check it out. Also, I wanted to plug our socials real quick, just right at the top here. So we've got 2 Facebook pages. We've got the official Midnight Double Feature page, which is where we post all of our official announcement and things like that. But we also have the After Party, which is our sort of social page where people comment and post memes and things like that. That's a great page. I love that page. And then we've also got the Instagram page, which is at Midnight Double Feature. And we've also got Twitter, which the handle is at MDF Pod. And obviously you can listen to us anywhere. We're on iTunes, we're on Spotify, we're on fucking YouTube, for fuck's sake, if you're under a rock. So definitely check that out. But man, look, that's all the housekeeping bullshit out of the way. Colin, okay, you give me your thoughts on fucking Nightcrawler, dude. Nightcrawler 2014, directed by Dan Gilroy, starring Jake Gyllenhaal. Hit me.
Dude, I love American Psycho 2. It's great.
I love Taxi Driver 2. Yeah.
All right. No, actually, I don't want to confuse that with the fucking Mila Kunis American Psycho 2. Like, dude, this guy. I mean, because when I look at Lou Bloom, I mean, he's got to be a distant relative of Patrick Bateman. Like, he's got to be
totally.
But like it's so odd because like the whole time I'm comparing him to Patrick Bateman, and like you said, Travis from Taxi Driver, and the crazy thing that he, as much as I want to compare him to Patrick Bateman, like he's so different just as much as he is alike. Like he actually wants to like work hard. You know, he's not just like, oh, my dad owns the company, blah blah blah. But the specificity of the way that they talk, I mean, even their physical makeup. I mean, Jake Gyllenhaal lost like 20 pounds to do this movie. Like he went through not as a dramatic physical transformation as like Christian Bale, but still like something looking at him is very gangly, you know?
Yeah, while we're here, I'll just read out this piece of trivia. So in order to drop 20 pounds for his 180-pound frame, Gyllenhaal says, I would try to eat as few calories as possible. If I knew I was hungry, then I was in the right spot. Physically, it showed itself, but mentally, I think it was even more of a fascinating journey. I knew that Lou was literally and figuratively hungry, adding that he got into character by transitioning into a mode where I was always a bit hungry. Gyllenhaal, however, said that there was no special diet to shed pounds for Nightcrawler. On some nights during shooting, Gyllenhaal said he wouldn't eat at all, or he'd take small bites of meat, crackers, or kale salad. To stay lean and fit, he would always run 15 miles from his house to the film set.
Yeah, I heard he was like running to set and biking and like just all types of stuff. And yeah, I mean, I love this movie. That's about as simple as I can put it. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. There's nothing I can nitpick on it. I have like no negative things really to say about this movie, other than the fact that it's probably one of the most underrated movies of like the last decade. It's like it's got a good following behind it, and I think people recognize it now as being a really good movie. But this is also, I think, Dan Gilroy's directorial debut. So a lot of people probably didn't know, who the fuck is this Dan Gilroy guy, but it's got so many names behind it. You got Bill Paxton, R.I.P. You've got Rene Russo, Riz Ahmed. You've got like all these. I mean, not Riz Ahmed at the time, not a really big name, but now, I mean, he's fucking Star Wars, Marvel. I mean, he's all over it. But yeah, I like this movie a lot. Like I said, I think it's one of the most underrated movies of the last 10 years. And I'm glad that I saw it. And I'm super excited to see their Velvet Buzzsaw when that comes out.
Hell yeah, dude! I'm so glad you're positive on this movie, man. When I chose it, I was like, he better not fucking hate this movie.
Oh no, it's how could you hate it, man? It's fucking great. Like
I honestly, I'm going to say it is so fucking close to perfect. I'm going to agree with you, man. There is like so little to nitpick here. It's just it honestly is one of my all-time favorites. Like that's not even like putting it lightly, man. When I saw this in 2014, I was blown away. Like the thing that attracted me to this movie was A, the Oscar buzz that it was getting at the time, but B, in that trailer, man, you get that shot of Jake Gyllenhaal with the mirror and like he's kind of screaming like a fucking crazy person. That, by the way, was improvised. And man, when I saw that, I was just like, Jesus Christ, I gotta watch this movie. Like this is gonna be something special, But yeah, like this is absolutely an incredible movie. It feels so original. It feels like a question of like morality and ethics, but at the same time, it's like commenting on the state of like media and the way like we want to consume media. It honestly, it's for a simple story, it actually hits a lot of like heavy themes, man. And like I was just like, God damn. It's about like the constant need to film everything. Like I mean, seriously, if you go to a music festival, everyone's just recording everything. Like you just fucking a lot of people, they just, I don't know if they watch it again, like when they're sleeping. But look, I'm gonna be honest. Like I am guilty of that. Like I have recorded like some shit at like some of the shows that I've been to, and I do look back on it from time to time because I kind of like to reminisce. But man, like it just talks about this constant need to film everything, even if it's intrusive. Like the way like Lou gets in front of like people's faces, or like let's use a fucking real world example, man. Like sometimes like you see people fucking posting food photos on Instagram, and sometimes those people are like, oh, hold on, before we start eating, let me take a photo of my food. No, that's fucking intrusive. like you are like 5 steps away from being Lou Bloom.
Right, you're making me not enjoy this fucking delicious avocado toast because you want to look good for the gram,
Right, exactly. Your mate's sitting over here fucking starving probably, and you just want to, you want to get some likes. Like it's kind of bullshit. But yeah, man, again, like another thing, man, this movie is just about like the dangers of ambition, man. Like he plays it so well. Like he's just this guy who's hungry, who wants to become powerful. He wants to become known. He doesn't want to be alone. even though he says he likes being alone, it's just kind of like this ladder climbing motherfucker who will stop at nothing, and anyone who gets in his way, he manipulates, man, and he's just such a great manipulative character. But not only that, like the tone of this movie, you've got the noir aspects of it, because this I do class this as a noir movie, even though you do get a lot of daytime scenes. It's blackly comedic. Like, there is so much black humor in this movie, and I was not expecting that the first time I watched this. What do you think about that? Like, the humor around it?
Yeah, the few and far between moments that they have are actually like it does it well. It does well to break the tension to where it needs to be broken up.
Absolutely, dude. Absolutely. But man, this movie, it's fantastic. Like, it was honestly one of my favorite movies of 2014, man. Like, this was just blew me away. Jake Gyllenhaal's performance blew me away. I don't think it's quite as good as Prisoners. Did you ever see Prisoners?
It's so weird. I've got that and still in the plastic, have not watched it.
Oh man. So that's directed by Denis Villeneuve, who's one of my favorite directors. And Jake Gyllenhaal is a fucking beast in that. So, but he's a beast in this as well, man. Like, I don't want to take anything away from this performance. Renee Russo is also great, man. She gets some really good sequences. There is one scene that I'll get to in particular, between the two of them. It's just like, wow, like these two are on fire, man. But like you said, dude, Riz Ahmed, he was really a nobody when this movie came out, but he's kind of built something for himself in the last 4 years. He's done so well. Like you said, dude, Rogue One. Unfortunately, he's in Venom. Like, you mentioned Marvel. I'm like, where's he in Marvel? And then I was like, oh, Venom. But if you guys don't know Riz Ahmed, check out a show, a limited series called The Night Of.
I've heard about that. I've heard it's really good.
Dude, it's a HBO production, and it was produced by James Gandolfini. I think it started before he died. But yeah, man, Riz Ahmed is a force to be reckoned with in that show. Like, you got to check it out. But dude, fucking Bill Paxton, like, goddamn,
game over, man.
Game over. But seriously, man, like the one of only two guys to get killed by a Terminator, a Predator, and a fucking alien. We lost.
Yeah,
Damn
right.
it.
Like, I just, and it's so sad. He just apparently he went in for some not routine surgery, but something that everybody was fully expecting him to just pull out of. Like, it was no big deal. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, when he died, I was like, that is so random. He's only like 50s or 60s, maybe. Like, that guy had so much of a career ahead of himself, and not only just as an actor. I mean, we're talking about a guy that directed like Frailty. Did like a lot of directing like later on, and I don't know. That really struck a blow. Like when Bill Paxton died, because that guy's just been in so much stuff. Fucking Twister, True Lies, Aliens. Like, been in so many of my favorite movies. Like, growing up.
I forgot about True Lies, dude. I forgot about True Lies. Jesus Christ, he died a legend, man. Like, everyone, like, there is not one person that on this planet that's like, oh, I didn't like him as an actor. Like, there's no way. Like, he's just so totally likable, man. But yeah, man, that's my thoughts on this movie. It's fantastic. Definitely watch it. Definitely check it out if you haven't seen it. It's a movie that'll make you question your morals. Like, by the end of this, I'm like, oh, okay. Like, darkly, it's so fucking dark. I was telling you off air, I can see what Lou Bloom is doing, and I get it for someone who's this driven. I get it. Like, and that is so fucked up for me to realize that.
Right. Yeah. It's like, it's not sympathizing, and it's definitely not empathizing.
It's just like understanding.
Right. Exactly. You understand something in the way of like you looking at a car that's run out of gas. You're like, okay, I understand like what the problem is. I get it. And I think we all kind of feel sometimes like when you get motivated to do something, when you're doing a creative project, or you're going back to the gym, or you're starting a new job, or you're doing whatever, you're going back to school. Everybody feels that everybody's got a little Lou Bloom in them. When they first start, they're motivated. They want to go and do this. That's why they're enrolling or going to the gym or doing whatever. But then there's a certain line there. And I think that, like, I'm the type person, like, I can fall into something really easily, like going to the gym every day, or doing the podcast. Like, dude, I could podcast fucking 7 days a week, but like, there's also like a line to be drawn. Like your ambition is awesome, but you can't let this thing like consume your life. And we never see him do anything else. Like we see very, very little of his
personal life.
Right, exactly. And that's great because it keeps him super mysterious as a character. But like, I mean, for one thing, you never even see him sleep. You never see him like, you might see him like laying in bed for a second.
You just see him like water his plants. That's it, right?
Right, exactly. And even like Riz Ahmed's character, later on, he's like, dude, I'm tired. Aren't you tired? Don't you ever sleep? Like he's just flat out like, don't, because we see so much of Lou like chronically and constantly up at night, like doing these things. And then he's awake during the day though. Like he's ironing shirts, watering plants, watching TV. So it's like, if you're up all night shooting this stuff and then you're awake in the morning to watch it, how long have you slept for? It's like he's got these constant bags under his eyes. And again, the real thin kind of like gaunt look really gives it to that like hyena coyote kind of feel.
Yeah, gaunt's the word for sure.
Right, exactly. And he's just got this real like feral kind of look to him. It's fucking great.
Totally, man. But other than that, man, let's say without any further ado, we get into this bitch.
Let's do it.
Fuck yeah. All right, so the way this movie opens, dude, did it remind you of any other movie we've covered?
It kind of felt like Zodiac. also because of Jake Gyllenhaal.
Okay. Well, I wasn't thinking that. I was thinking Collateral, because like you get these like real like opening shots of like LA.
It's very Collateral. It's very Drive. It's very it feels very Zodiac to me. We have all these like night things going on in California. Jake Gyllenhaal's here. It's like, oh, okay, that's kind of interesting. Like, I like that kind of like neon like kind of heartbeat to a lot of this stuff. I really like that like that kind of feeling to the night city kind of scape.
Right. Yeah. Like the LA underbelly, if you will, I guess.
Right.
And by the way, man, this movie looks beautiful. Like it was shot by Paul Thomas Anderson's usual cinematographer, Robert Elswit. This movie just looks fantastic. Even like especially later when we get into, I guess, the car chase and the car sequences, dude. Like the way he shoots that Challenger, fucking beautiful. Dude, and also just quickly, did you know Gyllenhaal memorized the entire fucking movie?
Yeah, I read something about that. Like he thought about it as like a play instead of like a movie.
Yeah, and he's in every scene, so he had to memorize probably the entire script. Like that's
Jesus.
2-hour movie. That's about 140 pages. That's fucking wild, man.
I think that Jake Gyllenhaal is gonna be one of those ones like as time goes on, because I mean he's just had this awesome steady career. Like he did a lot of maybe like Bubble Boy in like the late 90s, early 2000s.
He makes great choices for sure.
Yes, like nobody makes as good as choices. I mean, you've got everything from fucking Donnie Darko to Nightcrawler to Zodiac to Spider-Man. Like he has all of this shit that's like his wheelhouse is like I don't know, it's like nondescript. Like it doesn't care. Like what kind of movies is Jake Gyllenhaal in? It's like, well,
I don't know. Yeah.
It's kind of hard to put a finger on it.
Exactly, and that's why I'm so excited for Velvet Buzzsaw. I can't get a handle on that movie. I was talking about it with Matt on the last upcoming attractions, and I can't get a handle on what it's about. I can't get a handle on its like, and not in a bad way. I can't get a handle on its tone, but like the trailer was fantastic in terms of like tone. Like it's like a comedy / drama / horror, and man, I'm hanging out for that movie to be great. It's dropping on Netflix pretty soon, guys. So definitely check it out. Same director, same writer, and Jake Gyllenhaal as well. Tony fucking Collette too, dude.
Oh yeah, she's fucking awesome.
She's awesome, dude. By the way, how the fuck did she get snubbed from the Oscars? But anyway, I'm not talking about that. But yeah, we meet Louis Bloom. I'm just going to refer to him as Lou, even though he doesn't like Lou. It's just easier. Lou's using bolt cutters to break into a restricted area, and he's stopped by a security guard. And dude, when the flashlight like points on his face, you see his face for the first time. He looks creepy.
Oh, dude, he looks like
creepy.
He looks like a raccoon that's been digging through your trash. And you come outside and you're like, what the fuck? Like I just expected him to have like a little empty bag of Lay's potato chips and just like just like scurrying off.
He looks like a ghoul. Like there is no other fucking word to, like, just a fucking ghoul.
Right, yeah. Like he seems like such a classic like monster in the sense of like getting chased out of town with like fucking pitchforks and torches and shit.
Right.
You know, just this real gaunt kind of scaly, like not one to sit there and like I didn't expect this. Like I thought, okay, he's gonna book it, he's gonna run. Like I did not think this scene was gonna turn the way that it did.
No. Well, Dan Gilroy inserted this scene to kind of like paint Lou as this sort of villain from the beginning. Like he always had this. It wasn't just the Nightcrawler gig that made him this way. Like he was always just he was always a guy that would like pretty much do anything to achieve a means to an end, even if it means like, you know, knocking out a security guard and stealing his watch.
Right, exactly.
But yeah, so Lou goes to this junkyard to sell the fence. They're haggling over price, and he's just, dude, he's so weird, man. Like his line delivery, I'm willing to take less to establish a business relationship. Like, okay,
dude, like give me the short form of what you're saying. Like everything he's saying is just so like it's
elongated.
Such a mouthful. Yeah, it's like God damn, dude, you could trim the fat off this, you know? Yeah.
He asked for a job, and he rarely blinks, man, as he sells himself. Like this is another thing I noticed in this movie. Like Gyllenhaal barely blinks, and it's just so unsettling. The manager declines even to an internship, and he says he's not hiring a fucking thief.
Do you know who this guy is? The foreman of this place?
No, he looks familiar though.
He's been in a couple of things. He's in first thing he's in Cobra with Sylvester Stallone.
I'm good.
He's also he's in The Crow. He's like I think he's like the police chief in like The Crow. But he's actually he's actually been in a lot of shit, man.
He's got his IMDb credit's probably huge, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so Lou drives past an accident and pulls over. He walks out, and the camera crew pulls up and just pretty much says, "We're first," and it's Bill fucking Paxton. Love
God,
this dude.
He's such a fucking second. It's like right behind Lou. Definitely the person I like the least in this movie. Like his character's so fucking punchable, man.
Totally. And dude, can we just talk about these Nightcrawlers for a sec? Like, how original of a script is this? By the way, this was nominated for best screenplay, original screenplay at the Oscars, and it didn't win. But man, it is like, how often do you see a movie that's based around people like this, like people who, you know, go out in the middle of the fucking night and cover like for news stations like these grisly events, man. Like that's fucking wild.
Yeah, because you know, if there's one thing about this movie, you can say that it's, you know, it's a lot about like ambition or even like the American dream, and you know, you got to fake it till you make it, you know, kind of thing, you know, like burning the candle at both ends. Yeah. But the thing about it is that there's so much like, yeah, like I'm glad that he added that scene of like what Lou is before all this happens, because it would be really easy to say that like, well, look what this did to this guy, look what it turned him into, you know, this weird kind of guy. And it's like, no, like the motivation to be who he was already there. You know, Bill Paxton never fucking moved dead bodies around and did all the fucking crazy shit that Lou does in this. You know, it's like Lou is willing to cut corners and do things that are, you know, and I'm not saying any of these other Nightcrawlers aren't willing to do that. I'm sure that they have done something like that, but not to the extent that Lou is doing it. Because what's crazy is that even though Lou is here, and we want to talk about, oh man, look at how fucked up he is. Look at all the shit that he's doing. Look how fucking wrong that is. Like, that's one thing where we talk about him like watering these plants is like, I think that's kind of symbolic of what he's doing with society. Like, he is feeding a need for something. Like, he's not just like, and I wonder, it's like, why do they just keep showing him randomly watering these plants? And I think it's like, you know, a lot of people will watch this kind of stuff. Will watch this misery. You know, he's like, I'm not getting paid $10,000 because somebody wants it for research purposes. You know, this is going on the fucking news. This is stuff that people want to watch. So I always took it's like him like watering these plants and stuff. It's like, yeah, we like, he might be fucked up for doing it, but there is only a demand. There's only a product because there's a demand, you know, and that's even more fucked up.
Right. And to reinforce what you were saying there, like with Lou kind of like feeding society, I think that's kind of evident with like Nina's last line. She's like, I think Lou is inspiring all of us to reach a little higher. Like
right.
That right there, man. Like, I mean, you know what? I think you're onto something here, Colin.
Well, I mean, because it's like, yeah, sure, like you can hate on these people all you want, but it's kind of like you can go on YouTube and watch these celebrities like freaking out on paparazzi and stuff, and the paparazzi always say, they're like, this is my job, this is what I get paid to do. Like,
I don't have camera off.
Right, exactly. They're always like trying to put their, like they're like, dude, like I can come out here and like film you and stuff, and it's hilarious to see these celebrities that like freak out. Like Ben Affleck's one, and he started filming it and filming them with his phone, and they're like, dude, I don't. They're like, they're like, I don't care. They're like, go ahead. I mean, this is just more screen time. I have you on here. Like, the more of an ass you make out of yourself, the better. And I mean, I don't like what they do. Quite frankly, I think it's this shit. Like, this is why I don't watch the fucking news. To be completely honest,
they're vultures. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. So like, yeah, hate on Lou all you want, but like, he's a vulture, but he's got a flock to feed. Like, that's the crazy part about it.
It's wild, man. It's fucking wild. Lou watches intently as the news crew gets right into the thick of it, man, while the cops just haul an injured woman out of the car. And Lou's just fucking creepy, man. He's just totally into it. I love Bill Paxton's line, if it bleeds, it leads.
If it bleeds, we can kill it.
Yeah, I was just about to say that as well, actually.
He's like, oh, wait, fuck, sorry, bro.
Wrong movie. Lou asks Joe, that's obviously Bill Paxton, whether it'll be on the news. He wants to know what it makes and whether they're hiring. Thank you for taking the time to discuss what you do. You've been very helpful. Like, what?
Yeah, I'd like to apply for a job. Are you all hiring? Fuck no.
Yeah, and then he's just like, thank you for taking the time to discuss what you do. You've been very helpful. What? Like, it's just such a weirdo.
That's one of the things that sucks us in with Lou, is like the fact that Lou does all this fucked up shit, but he is a hard worker. He is polite. He's
polite. Yeah.
Yeah. On the surface, he is professional. There's a lot of shit about Lou. He's such an interesting character. We could probably do a whole podcast just talking about Lou, but versus like, look at what's Bill Paxton, Joe, I think is what you said.
Joe Loader. Yeah.
Yeah. You look at Joe and he's like, blah, blah. He's kind of rough around the edges. Can I get a job? Fuck no. He's like, well, thank you for your time. Thank you for your interest. He's like, can I wipe your ass for you on your way out? Like, he's very like, I mean, you could see this guy at the beginning of the early 2000s working for like Enron or someone, be like, more coffee, sir?
Oh man, yeah, like, and that's what I was, I never commented on what you said. Like, this movie, like you said, dude, is totally underrated. Like, no one talks about this movie, and it's been out for 5 years, and no one's ever like, have you ever seen Nightcrawler? Like no one. Every time I go, oh, have you seen Nightcrawler? I literally asked someone the other day. They asked me what we're covering on the podcast, and they're just like, I'm like, Nightcrawler, and they're like, oh, what's that? I'm just like,
that's the worst X-Men film I've ever seen.
Is that the one with the guy who can teleport?
Yeah, right, exactly. Dude, Googling Nightcrawler was such a bitch. I was like, Nightcrawler movie, god damn it.
Yeah, I had to type in Nightcrawler 2014 all the fucking time, dude. We get a look in at Lou's depressing apartment, and we get a sense that he's a loner. Lou watches the news and sees the footage of the car crash the night before. It's so weird just how he laughs at that unclaimed lottery ticket, by the way. Like, he just laughs.
Yeah,
I don't get him.
Right. I think that's the thing, is like, I love characters like Lou, because you have people that really kind of like get their heads shoved really far up their own ass. Like, saying that him watering the plant, it means this other thing, that's about as deep as I'm gonna fucking get, to be completely honest. So like, I love when he does something like that, because it sends people probably analyzing like crazy, and it's like, dude, I don't think there's anything there. He's just fucking nuts.
He's just laughing. He's just
fucking
nuts.
Crazy.
Yeah. But like, I mean, if you put a camera on us, just like, just standard, just watching the TV, and then like they say something funny, we'd laugh. Like, I mean, it's kind of like out of context as well a little bit, like this whole scene, like where he just laughs about the lottery. Like, he might just find things funny. You never know.
I don't know. It's fucking weird.
I would just like fucking dismiss it. Dude, the next scene, I fucking love Venice Beach. I miss Venice Beach. I wish I spent more time there.
I used to live there.
Whoa, what?
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. You piece of shit.
I'm just gonna start doing that. through the podcast now, like whenever we cover something. Like, yeah, me and old guy used to live with down the road. We built the DeLorean and we time traveled back to 1985. It was pretty interesting.
You know what? You're basically Lou Bloom, fucking telling me lies and manipulating me all the fucking time.
Oh, dude. Oh, by the end of this, I'm going to have a wicked impression of him.
Lou ties up his hair like a hipster in a man bun and he steals someone's bike and tries to pawn it off. It cost me over $8,000 new.
I won the tour to Mexico with this.
Yes.
He's like, it has 37 gears, has a light micro bubble ball fiber. He's like, no bike has 37. Gears? Yeah, no bike has 37 gears.
But I love how like he did like the man bun hair, like to like pawn off that he was like, you know, a biker.
Right. Yeah. I was like, dude, that is a weak ass man bun. No way.
Yeah. But he settles on $800 in store credit. He wants a camcorder and a police scanner. So basically literally the next scene, you know, he hears a call in the police scanner and he takes off in his shitty car. He pulls up to the scene of a fight. He says he's a freelancer and the cops are just fucking telling him to walk away or get arrested for obstruction, right?
Yeah, I love that. What are you doing here filming? Filming what? Whatever's happening.
There's nothing to film, yeah. Like he doesn't know the ropes yet. It's hilarious, like just how he kind of like jumps right into it. He tries to film a fucking DUI. Like this poor girl's like trying to blow on the breathalyzer and he's just over here trying to film it. Like what news station is going to buy that footage?
Yeah, who gives a fuck about that, man? And that's another thing. Shows you how out of like how disconnected. Well, how disconnected he is with society. Like I don't watch the news. Like I fucking hate watching the news. But I hate the news. Yeah. I know nobody gives a shit about that. Nobody fucking wants to watch one person with a DUI. Like that's just another thing of like, why do you think somebody would want to watch that? Like he's so not human, you know, it's crazy.
Unless it's like, see, for Lou, he doesn't know what level of like wrongdoing is enough to be newsworthy because he does it so fucking often. Like, do you know what I mean? Like when he's stealing the fence lining and like, you know, he knocks out the security guard, like to him that might be nothing. But like so like when he's filming like the DUI and the fight, like to him like, oh, it's all wrongdoing, it's all the same thing. Like, you know what I mean? Like there's no level of seriousness to it. That might be a thing.
Right, yeah. He doesn't I think he's unaware of the level of like tragedy they want in their shit, you know?
Yeah. So he eventually attends a shooting. He gets too close and he's told to get back 100 feet. He's told by the guy from Ace Video that he ruined his angle. Jesus
dude,
Christ.
The way that guy fucking, he's like, I had a great fucking shot back there. Go the fuck home. Some of us are trying to get paid. Fucking asshole. I'm like, Jesus, dude.
Jesus Christ, dude.
I'm not gonna lie. Like, not only does that guy kind of look like me, like bald beard, like kind of dude. That's dude. When I'm at work and we're on
totally
like
your reaction.
Oh, dude, we're on little electric rides riding around and people will cut you off. I'm like, fucking get out of here. You're gonna get somebody killed, you fucking dumb dick. God, fucking asshole piece of shit. And dude, I'll drive off just fucking irritated like a motherfucker.
I love that you give zero fucks about HR rules.
Oh God, hell no, dude. No, fuck that.
Yeah. He overhears the guy haggling with the news station about money, and then Lou actually goes to a news station. We find out that this is obviously like Channel 6. He meets with Nina, and she asks who he works for. He says himself, and this becomes a thing.
Well, I was going to say, you know, Renee Russo, she's married to Dan Gilroy.
Yeah, I did read that. That's crazy, dude. That's wild.
I was wondering why she's like popped back up again in like Velvet Buzzsaw. Like, not that she's not talented, you know. It's just like, okay, Jake Gyllenhaal's about the only person that I see recycled over from it. And then I saw Renee Russo. I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like, she's a great actress. I don't want to imply that like she's just in the movie because her husband's a director. You know, it's like I don't want to imply that, but like I wondered why she popped back up again. You know, like the only other person was Jake Gyllenhaal, but that's got like Malkovich and Toni Collette, like a lot of random people. So it's like, oh, that's cool. I'm glad to see they have like a good personal and professional kind of relationship.
Yeah, it's not like a Len Wiseman or Kate Beckinsale situation where it's like, hey, I'm going to put you in every Underworld movie that I do. Okay, cool.
Right, or like Burton and Helena Bonham Carter. I'm like, damn, dude, come on.
Oh, who's the Mila Jovovich and who's the fucking other guy with Resident Evil? Paul W.S. Anderson, not the good Anderson, not the good Paul Anderson. Yeah. But yeah, anyway, so Lou tells Nina about the shooting footage. He seems very happy and pleased. He convinces Nina that he was much closer than Ace to what happened. And they scrub through the footage. Nina seems very happy with the footage. And man, like I'm just like, as they're watching it, these guys are fucking vultures, dude. Like, I've got no other word for them.
Dude, now, I know you don't listen to, like, a lot of heavy music, but have you ever heard of Tool? Have you ever listened to Tool?
No.
Now, they have a great song called Vicarious, and literally the lyrics are like, I on the TV, 'cause tragedy thrills me, whatever flavor.
Oh, my ears. My ears are bleeding.
To be like those are such fucking good lyrics, and it's all I could think about when I was watching this, about like, I on the TV, tragedy thrills me, whatever flavor it happens to be like. And it, like, I was like, holy shit. And the whole song is talking about living vicariously through other people, which is what you do when you watch this shit.
Right.
And I was like, oh man, that's so fucking great. I highly suggest checking out that band, by the way. They're fucking really good.
Yeah, hopefully they sing better than you, but...
Oh, fuck you. That's beautiful.
No, it was great, man. It was like fucking... It was like a mix between Fergie and Jesus, dude. It was great. And Lou meets Frank. I like Frank, man. He's like the moral center of this station, I guess.
I could punch this guy in the cunt. I just fucking... Even though morally I agree with him, I'm like, get away from me, dude. I don't like you. You look like Kurt Connors from fucking Spider-Man. Like, get the fuck out of here.
But not only that, dude, it's like he does nothing. Like, he all he does is like speak up a few times, and he doesn't really do anything about it.
Right. He's basically there to go, hey, that's wrong. It's like, what do you even do here?
What is your job? Oh, wait, no. She says your job is to like make sure that the weather woman is like turned the right way or some shit.
Yeah, to make sure she turns sideways.
Yeah. Nina and Frank argue about the footage being excessive. She wants to run it with a warning. By the way, doesn't a warning does nothing, right? Like, if anything, it makes people want to watch it more. Like, that's so interesting by itself.
It's like no, I know we had them here in the States, but like, did you guys have the parental advisory, anything like that on your albums? Like, anything that had... Okay, yeah. But yeah, as soon as you saw that, it was like, ooh, like, that's cool. It's like, it's as soon as you see like the adults only sign, you're like, I'm going in there.
Right. I mean, like, I'll get into it a bit later. Like, I looked up legislation. Like, sorry, listeners, you're in for a great fucking, bureaucratic podcast.
What a surprise. The lawyer looked up legislation on a fictional movie. Surprise.
But like, going back to the warning, dude, I mean, like, if you're a 10-year-old and you see sexual content ahead, you're going to click enter like right away. Like, come on, dude. Like, we all did that.
Yeah. It immediately as you're like, due to the graphic nature of this program, viewer discretion is advised. Right. You're like, fuck, my dick just moved. Hell yeah.
There's a little twitch going on down there. Lou asks for $1,000. She refuses because he has nowhere else to go and because the quality is shit. And he gets $250. And Nina wants Lou to contact her if he gets anything new. Like, she says she likes crime, a break-in, white victims, accidents. Lou is fixed on bloody, and she says graphic. Think about a newscast as a screaming woman running down the street with her throat cut. Dude.
Jesus.
Yeah, like, I mean, my other degree, like the comms degree, is like public relations and advertising, and I can totally see where they're coming from, dude. Like they're like, surely you can too, right? Like, I mean, like, it's not like, in terms of PR, if that's what gets you like your ratings, then hey, go for gold.
Right, yeah. It's like I said, it might be horrible what you're doing, but there's a demand for it, and that's why, like, it puts bread on the table. It creates jobs for other people. It's not like, because there's always been this debate with these stringers or Nightcrawlers, whatever you want to call them. Like in real life, a lot of them they will notify they'll know if they're the first ones to show up, they'll call the paramedics, and but they don't intervene with anything like that. And a lot of people look down on them for that, and I kind of do it as well. But at the same time, like, you never know. You fucking go over there, you touch that guy, and you fuck him up for life. Like, I knew a guy who was in a car wreck. He got ejected from the car, like, fucking was flying. The guys went and picked him up, and his neck was broke. And they were like, dude, if you hadn't touched him, he would have been fine. But he fucking never walked again, because they went over there and they moved his neck, and they were like, if you'd have kept his neck straight, you would have been fine. But they like picked him up and moved him around, and he fucking, like, from the neck down, just like paralyzed. I'm like, holy shit. So I kind of don't blame them at the same time, because I've just heard horror stories from that, or people then sue you for shit like that. Like, they're just there to capture it because people want it. Hate them all you want, but somebody wants to watch that shit.
Right. There's that level of voyeurism in public that the public wants to see. Like, even though voyeurism is fucking outlawed, like, people want to see. People are sometimes naturally attracted to violence, dude. It's just the way things are. And it's kind of fucked up. But hey, I guess it's human nature sometimes. And you can give that whole excuse like, oh, I want to know about what crime is going on in my area. But it's like, do you really?
Yeah, what are you gonna do? Go out and become Frank Castle and fucking just start gunning people down? I get it for wanting to stay informed on like some stuff. Like, we actually had a rash of robberies about this time last year in our apartment building. Like, it's not very well lit at night. A lot of people were just like walking their dogs. So, dude, like, when I walk my dog, I have a fucking knife on me. Like, nothing crazy. Just a small like pocket knife. But I also don't think
Tom can protect you.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think anybody's gonna fuck with like a 90-pound lab and a 300-pound 6'4" fucking guy in all black walking his dog in the middle of the night. But still,
but you know what? You're ginger, so they can attack you.
Yeah, right. No, they're like, he doesn't have a soul. Fuck that. He's got nothing to lose.
Oh boy. Okay. Lou sees his footage on the Channel 6 News. You can see the cogs turning in Lou's head as he kind of like watches it. And Lou saves the video as carjacking crime waves, and he starts learning police scanning codes, doesn't he? No, go on.
Oh no, I was gonna say it's weird seeing him categorize these things we see later on. It's almost like a serial killer with trophies.
Right.
It's very odd that he like saves these, because like, I don't even save the fucking files from our podcast half the time. Like, that's just taking up too much storage. Fuck that. I'm like, dude, I can imagine him having all these videos on there.
Well, I save them all like on like an external hard drive, and like, but they're all numbered. Like, they're never named. Like, I never named like the podcast. Oh, Nightcrawler. Like, they're all numbered. So, if someone was to ask me, hey, can you go find that episode on fucking Zodiac? I'd be like, what? What number is that? So he irons his shirt and he watches his TV. He just starts laughing, dude. Like, he's just so unhinged. Like, it's weird. Like, it's weird reaction to everything that's happening here. It's just so unsettling to watch as well. And Lou meets with Rick, played by Riz Ahmed. Riz Ahmed is fantastic in this movie. What do you think of Riz overall?
Dude, I honestly like, because we see a lot of the people around him. We see Rene Russo's character, Riz Ahmed, Bill Paxton, like, all these people are so wrapped up in this kind of like scene. And I think it's easy, like I said, I think it's easy to look at Lou and go, man, that guy's fucked up. But it's like, dude, these are the people around him. They're desperate, all of them. Like right. Bill Paxton is desperate to get where he's going to. Rene Russo, she needs her ratings. Riz Ahmed, he needs a job. Like,
he's fucking homeless. Yeah,
right, exactly. And it's like, what builds great characters? Wants, needs, desires. It fills them out. It makes them feel three-dimensional. And this movie, I mean, Lou is like, a fucking insane, so like fucking fourth dimension character. I mean, so well defined and really fleshed out. But also, there's this like sad, horrifying like realism to Rick's character. Just him being broke, living in a fucking garage. I mean, and literally, he's like, I'm willing to do anything. Blah blah blah. He's like, I love that. He's like, are you tricking? He's like, I'm not gay. He's like, plenty of straight guys trick.
Yeah, man. Every time I see Riz Ahmed's character in this, I kind of, my heart breaks a little. And it's not really Ahmed's performance. Like, while his performance is fantastic, it's the way the character's written, man. Like, just just the little sentences that he's got here and there, like how, he's like, you didn't even, you promised me a performance review ages ago. Like, things like that. Like, things about like him trying to be better and trying to be well off a little bit more well off, but like Lou is just a fucking
situation.
Right, and Lou is just a fucking black hole that just takes advantage of it, dude. Like, it's fucking crazy. But yeah, man, Lou says that he lost an employee and he's looking for an employee. And Rick says the ad didn't say what the job was. By the way, can you imagine what that ad probably would say if it was honest?
Oh, dude, like hardworking, self-motivated entrepreneur seeks other like-minded individuals.
Right, and with no full stops, because that's not how Lou speaks. Like, he's just all in one go.
Right, yeah.
Lou wants to know about Rick's prior employment. He says that he was a landscaper, and Lou asks Rick why he should hire him and that Rick should sell himself. Rick tells him that he'll do pretty much anything and that he's homeless, like you said, about the tricking. And Lou wants him to start tonight and tells him that he runs a successful TV news business. And dude, like, just with my personal experience, I've totally been sucked into assholes like this. Like, I've had interviews with dog shit lawyers who kind of like sell themselves to be what they're not really. Like, essentially they've kind of lied, and they've put on this facade that they're so great and that they should be, you know, like bowed down to when they're not, when they're actually kind of despicable. And it's just, this kind of like hit me close to home a little bit. It was wild, man. But Lou,
yeah, because sorry, I would say only in the most technical sense. I mean, yes, Lou is completely full of shit, but in the most like bullshit technical way, he is actually telling the truth. He's like, I am from a successful video. Like I've sold one thing. I am a success to him. Like he's made a baby step into that. I'm like, that's what scares me the most, is how like sometimes these people, you give them an inch and they'll run it a mile, and they just milk it for all of its worth in positive ways. But he is just taking anything and just spinning it to where it just sounds so fucking, even the smallest things like sounds like such a monumental achievement.
Right, but the thing is, like, I can't determine whether Lou actually genuinely thinks that he's right, like that to other people, like, you know, oh, he's telling the truth, or that he knows he's spinning it. Like, what do you think? Like, do you think he knows that he's like spinning it and like trying to kind of like extrapolate like all of his credentials, or like?
Right, I think he does know. I think that it comes from like a place of fear. I think that most of Lou comes from an insecurity. I mean, obviously the dude's like kind of a sociopath, right? I mean, like,
totally.
Look up the textbook definition of sociopath: a person with personality disorder manifesting itself in extreme antisocial attitudes and behavior and a lack of conscience. Totally sounds like Lou. But the thing is, like, Lou, much like Patrick Bateman, doesn't care about people only in the sense of, I want them to think that I'm something bigger than I really am. And if you walk that back and you kind of reverse engineer it, you're like, you've got a guy who is afraid, he's insecure, like with success. He wants, obviously not only wants money, but he wants status, he wants power, he wants respect. You know, he wants people to like look at what he's done and go, yeah, he wants admiration. You know, so I think that in a way, like he sees these things, and his way of tackling them is just saying like, well, I am successful. I have sold this thing. I am running a, you know, I've paid money for this equipment, and this is my job now. It is paying my bills, so I am successful, and this is my career now. So only in like, he knows that he's full of shit, but in a certain way he can kind of I guess lie to himself and manipulate it in a way that even he believes it. So maybe it starts off as one thing, but I think he totally believes it by the end of it, whatever bullshit he's spewing to Rick.
Right. Yeah, totally, man. And like, dude, Rick asks about his payment, and he's just like, it's an internship. Damn it! That's happened so many fucking times, dude. Like, it's just like, oh, I'm not paying you for this. He's like, I'm giving you a chance to explore career options and get insight into my organization. It's not at all unusual for me to make full-time job offers to my interns. Wow.
Yeah.
And Rick is adamant, you know, he needs to be paid something at least, and Lou settles on a fucking measly $30 cash per night. Lou and Rick sit in a car while Lou teaches Rick about the police codes, and he says, we want victims and not the kind that live on 6th and Rampart. Jesus.
Yeah.
We get a montage of them waiting for the right call to come in, and Lou eventually perks up when he hears a call about a structure fire, and they take off. They race to the fire while Rick guides Lou to the location, and Rick is directing him. He makes a mistake saying that they overshot by 5 blocks. They eventually get to the scene, but they've missed the ambulance by 2 minutes. Nice camera, says Paxton.
Oh, yeah.
I love his condescending nature. Brilliant. Rick tells Lou not to rush him, and Lou tells Rick that communication is the number one key to success. Which, you know what? For a sociopath, he's not wrong. He's not wrong. Like, a lot of the things about Lou, the things that he says, like you said, Colin, like, it totally makes sense, and that is a scary part.
Right, yeah, and I love that because, you know what, Rick gets them lost, you know, he's supposed to turn 5 blocks back or whatever, and he's just kind of like, you know, I wasted $5 in gas, or is that not a lot of money to you? He's like, well, man, you know, maybe if you'd stop rushing me. And he's like, you know, don't come at me with a problem with another problem. Give me something I can work with. He's like, okay, well, can you please stop rushing me? Like, can you give me a minute? He's like, see, that's communicating. He's like, in a school of fish, or you look at a baseball team, blah, 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 the number one thing is communicating. I'm like, dude, but it's crazy because, like, you would think, like, you say that to Patrick Bateman, and Patrick Bateman's like, I'm going to smash your fucking face in with a hammer. Right.
Right. That's what I totally thought that would happen. I was like, okay, so fucking, like, there's no way Gyllenhaal isn't going to, like, let this go. He's going to fucking, you know, reprimand him for back talking, for sure.
Right. Because I think that as much as Rick is learning from Lou is learning from Rick in the sense of, like, this is the only human being I have any social interaction with, honestly, except for maybe, you know, maybe Rene Russo's character and a couple people in the studio. But this is the only, you know, this guy's kind of like, you know, you have those like younger friends of yours that kind of like link you to what's hip and what's going on. And I think he's kind of learning that from Rick at the same time.
Right. And like that comes through later when Rick tells Lou, you know, I just don't think you understand people. Like it all plays back into it, and it's fantastic, man. Well, dude, what a fucking tight script. I can't get over how good it is. So they pull up to a scene of a shooting. Lou gets right into the face of the witnesses, man. Like, I hate this shit. Like, there's a show here called A Current Affair, and it's basically just this bullshit, like, investigative journalism. And basically, you just see it's one of those ones where, like, the reporters chase the people on the street, or even though, you know, they've commented like 8 times, like, hey, I don't want to be, I've got no comment. Yeah, I hate that shit.
Yeah, just fucking tabloid bullshit.
It's bullshit, man. Can you try one more time without swearing? This is for TV.
Yeah, I don't own a TV.
Oh, boy. Lou walks into the crime scene and starts recording. There are bullet holes in the fridge, and he repositions the family photos closer to the bullet for dramatic effect. Like, that's wild, man. Like,
oh,
Jesus.
Dude, the second he steps into that house, you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, what are you doing, dude? What are you doing? But I like the music here. We didn't talk about the music, man. James Newton Howard, who works with Shyamalan a lot. Like, he did Sixth Sense, he did Signs. He's great. He's a great composer. But yeah, the music in this, man, shouldn't be overshadowed. It's fantastic.
No, yeah, because there's actually, I'll tell you what, I'll hit you with a track real quick.
Yeah, hit me,
because there is a fucking awesome track off the Nightcrawler soundtrack, like you said, by James Newton Howard. This one's called Search for the Plate. I'm not sure exactly when this pops up in the film, but this is fucking awesome. So fucking good, dude.
It's a great score, man. Like, it complements the movie so well. Like, it's dark, but it's still like as Lou's walking through his house. Like, I'm not saying that this track is played over that scene, but like, it's kind of like, you know, the cogs are turning in his head. Like, he's thinking, and he's like, how can I maximize this for dramatic effect? It's great.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it's very maniacal. It's very, oh man, just analytical. How can I use this to my own gain?
Sure, totally. He takes a video to Nina, who basically comes at the side of the footage. Dude, she's got a leg twitch going on, I guarantee you. And Frank grills Lou, asking him about how Lou got into the house, and Lou lies and tells Frank that he heard someone yelling to come in. Frank doesn't like the footage. It looks like he broke in, and Nina decides to run with it. Lou tells Nina that you can find anything online if you look hard enough. He tells Nina that you have to have a business plan before you start a business, and that's why you should pursue something. That's why you pursue something is equally important as what you pursue. Jesus Christ. Yeah, that why you pursue something is equally as important. Jesus Christ. Just had a stroke. He tells her that television news might just be something he loves as well as something he's good at. Damn. I
love when he's looking at the backdrop behind them. He's like, oh wow, through the TV, you know, this always looks so real. And I think that's like so telling, like that the backdrop is, I mean, for all intents and purposes, like it doesn't look amazing. It doesn't look, I mean, just totally real, but like, wow, that's a cool epic shot. And it's nuts that like you're standing there face to face with it, and it seems more real when you're outside of the situation like that. I think that's speaks volumes about like the filter that he's seeing things through, like up close and personal. You know, he's not really watching this thing like kind of happen. I think maybe at first when we first meet Bill Paxton's character, he does, but he's just kind of like, wow, what's this awful thing going on? But the only reason he sticks around is because the cameras come out, you know, and once that happens, that's his filter through which he like kind of sees everything from now on, because he doesn't, I'm not here to save you. I'm not here to help you. This is just something, this is just what I am. You know, that this is the only way that I interact with the day-to-day person through their life in any shape, form, or fashion. I'm like, that is fucking crazy.
That's
like,
cool, man.
He's that warped. He's like fucking that warped. Like, that is fucking nuts, man.
It's crazy to try and get into the mind of this guy, but like once you start, like you can't stop. So Lou sees this footage on TV used by Channel 6 and he saves the footage. We get a montage of him and Rick attending various scenes and saving the footage. Cut to black. And apparently some time has passed, man. Lou bought himself a beautiful, beautiful red Challenger. I love this car. And I love that he gets the brown guy to fill his petrol, his gas.
Well, dude, I'm not a big car guy. You know, I'm not really. I drive a fucking Toyota Yaris. You know, I'm like, it's like a 2-door fucking like.
It's economic.
Yeah, I get like fucking 80 miles to the gallon. But the Challenger, the newer Challengers, are one of the only ones I'm always like, those look fucking cool, man. And I think they get a bad rap because they look like the new Mustangs. And those just got fucking. Oh my god, anybody with like a $300 a week job can go get a fucking brand new Mustang. But these like Challengers, I knew a couple of people that I worked with, and I'd be like, let me step in that thing real quick, and just, I was like, oh, that's fucking awesome,
They're fucking
dude.
great. Well, I froth over them a little more than you because, I mean, obviously we don't have that many Challengers here. So, but when I went to the States, man, they're fucking, like, they're everywhere. Like Dodge, because Dodge is an American company, right? So it makes sense that there's, you know, a lot of Chargers, a lot of Challengers. But man, every time I saw a muscle car, I was just like, God damn.
Yeah, but you guys have the last of the V8 Interceptors.
Yes.
Oh god, I want one of those.
He's pissed that Rick spilled gas on his car. I will terminate you immediately, I promise you. Like,
wow.
Fuck working for this guy, man. Surely you can get a job at McDonald's. Like, I would rather work at McDonald's than this guy. But anyway, they got a call about a crash with injuries. Lou is in the face of a witness who's on the phone to 911. He tells Lou to piss off.
Yeah, I love that. That's one of the few people who actually is like, I don't know,
Like,
actually gives him some shit for. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, just fuck off, you fucking buzzard. Lou inspects the scene. He runs up a little hill to get a better angle, but and I also, did you also notice by this time he's upgraded his camera as well? He's got that big black beyond. Yeah. He repositions the crash victim, dragging him to get a better shot.
Holy shit.
Holy fuck. Dude, I love the music here, the drums with the electric guitar. Fantastic, man.
Dude, yeah, this whole thing of like going into the house was like one thing, but then moving a dead body to get a better shot, I was like, what the fuck, man?
It's like you have no moral compass.
Right, and this is great. This like you said, such a good script. This is screenwriting 101. You know, we see him, you know, showing up with the shitty handheld, seeing people do breathalyzers, and maybe not even 20 minutes later, we have him we have him, you know, going into the house and rearranging the photos and basically breaking into someone's house, and now he's moving dead bodies. Every single time we're getting ratcheted up even more, and that's fucking good screenwriting, man.
Right, and all to maximize the dramatic effect of his videos, right? Like all to position himself as a better videographer than the other people. Like it's
right, yeah.
It's all servicing his ends. It's great.
Well, and I love as he's filming, he's holding it up above his head, and he's got that little secondary screen you can turn down and look at it.
Yeah.
And he's kind of holding it up like, look at my new god. Like, look at this thing. Look at this shiny golden thing I have. Like, he's holding it up like fucking like Rafiki with Simba. Like, he's just got him like up in the air. It's like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Here's a car wreck. Some dudes dying.
Hopefully I got this in HD. So yeah, man, like this is like the police pull up, Lou walks off because he got the footage that he needs, and he gives the footage to Nina and he gets paid. And Lou tells Nina that he's focusing on framing. A proper frame not only draws the eye into the picture, but keeps it there longer, dissolving the barrier between the subject and the outside of the frame. Wow.
And And Lou also, he beat fucking Joe to this one. This is one of the first times we see him kind of give Joe the one up on that. I'm like, ooh, the plot thickens. The plot thickens. Dude, I love Nina noticing the blood on his shirt, and like Lou's just fucking preoccupied, like asking like her out for Mexican food. Like he's so detached about the blood. Like he doesn't give a fuck. And she's just like, I don't date coworkers, and she's twice his age. But Lou eventually, convinces her, like he does with everyone. I like that because it's the attention to. It's not like, oh my god, the attention to detail, but it's like just how savage he is in what he's doing that he just forgets these things. It's like, oh, I forgot that I had blood all over me. Oh, silly me. It's like, oh wow, like that's fucking just shows you again the disconnect. Crazy.
Yeah, silly me. Want to go out on a date later? Like what?
Oh man.
Joe flags down Lou, and he suggests that he gets an air card. Basically, he cuts the footage on the laptop, upload it to an external FTP site, and then notify the news stations so he doesn't have to drop off his footage, which is clever, I think.
Well, real quick, I don't want to go past the end of his conversation with Nina, where she's like, I don't work with you. I'm just someone you sell to. Yeah, and I don't want to fuck that up. He's like, well, you might fuck it up by saying no. She's like,
right.
Like, what are you implying? Like, oh, that's fucking sinister, man.
Right. There are moments later in the movie when he just like straight up threatens to, not even sell to her anymore. And this is the first instance where we get that, right? Like this is the first instance where he's like, I'm going to suggest to you that I'm not going to sell to you, and therefore I'm going to play on your fears of being fired.
Right. Just kind of testing the water, man. It's like, ugh, that's scary.
Totally. Joe tells Lou that he's expanding. He's going to be adding another van and offers him a position. Why compete when we can work together? And Lou declines, saying that working for himself is more in line with the skills and his career goals. I feel like grabbing you by the ears right now and screaming in your face, I'm not fucking interested. Instead, I'm going to go do some accounting. Like, dude, he says that so fucking calmly.
That is the equivalent of like, Patrick, where are you going? I have to return some videotapes. That's like all that reminds me of, dude. It's like, wow, that's fucking bizarre, man.
I have to return some videotapes. It's just like straight up like full on hardcore porn. At the Mexican restaurant, Nina makes, this is one of my favorite scenes in the movie, by the way. Like this is such a standout scene. Nina makes awkward small talk, and Lou compliments her makeup and the way she smells. He's so weird. He's just straight into it, dude. He's just so weird.
Yeah, and just the way, like, if you want to compliment on somebody the way that they smell, you're like, what is that, like cherry or like vanilla? Yeah. What is? Oh, it's this. Oh, wow, that smells really good. Yeah, blah blah. And you relate to them. You find a way to relate to the conversation. Like all he is just stating facts. Like there's no relation to it. He's like, this is what I like, this is what I want, and this is how it involves you. Like, God, that's fucking like robotic, man.
Dude, Gyllenhaal in this scene. Sorry, not Gyllenhaal, because Gyllenhaal does an amazing job. But Lou in this scene reminds me of fucking Mark Zuckerberg in front of the Senate committee. Like he's a like he's a fucking reptilian reptile, like a reptilian fucking alien that just doesn't know how people interact.
Yeah, fucking breathing through his eyelids and shit.
Yeah, he's sweating bullets. Yeah, he knows where she's from. Says she's from Philly, and that he found that out online. He says he watches his work. He watches his work all the time, and that he doesn't want to be a reporter. Instead, he wants to be the guy that owns his own station, and he owns the camera. He tells her about his relationship status. That he wants a relationship with someone he can team up with, sharing the same job, same hours. So weird, dude. And she just straight up says, "I hope you find someone."
Yeah, damn, dude. Like that's a good, like, if his advances were like linemen on the NFL, she is just like juking each one of these guys. I was like, damn, that's fucking good, man.
Talk about pushback, hey? Like, she must be so used to this. She's a beautiful woman, by the way, Renee Russo.
Right, yeah. And I love what he's saying here, where he's like, the international news, political news, sports, blah, 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 is packed into 22 seconds, and the rest of it is all local news when you watch him. Like, damn, dude, like, he is a fast learner, man. You got to give him credit for that. Like,
totally.
Dude has
like the way, the way that he like gets her to realize how important he is to her operation. Fantastic.
Yes, man. Because like she thinks there's all these things. You're just some fucking jerk off the street who walked in with a shitty camera, and you don't really know what you're doing. And he's like, no, I know that your contract's going to be up soon. I know that you're in the lowest rating, the lowest rated TV, the lowest rated TV news channel. You're also like the vampire shift athlete, and that you only spend about 2 years at each job before your contract's up again, and then this next one coming up is going to be the sweeps week and shit. I'm like, holy fuck, man! Like level 9 fucking Palpatine Emperor level manipulation, dude. I was like, holy shit! Like such a master stroke, man.
Yeah, man. Like it's fucking wild. Like she's understandably overwhelmed as well, right? Like he tells her that there's like good things about being alone, but he can't have a dinner like this. He wants something outside of flirting. He's like, I want that with you. Like you want to keep your job and your health insurance.
Oh man, and this is something that like he's basically and I don't throw this word around lightly, but like he wants her to have sex with him, but this is non-consensual sex basically. Like and what do we call non-consensual sex? It's rape. Like in a way, like I know she doesn't physically have to do what she's going to do, but at the same time, like I mean, what else does she do? There's not another station for her to go to. This is her career. It's either you do this or you starve. Like maybe it's not like a short-term I have a knife to your throat thing, but it's like I'm threatening your life and your livelihood by doing this. Like, man, this is the part where it was like you can kind of understand and even maybe barely sympathize with Lou a little bit on some of the stuff that he's doing, but this is the one where you're like, no, this is not about ambition. This is not about being the best at something. Right. This is just it's disgusting, man. Like, fuck. This is where you really start to hate Lou. Right.
Well, this is one of the only scenes as well, like where Lou tries to change his life as personally instead of professionally. Like this is where he's like, I'm trying to be a different person instead of like a work-wise, right?
Well, dude, yeah, and like his line, the true price of something is what someone will pay for it. I'm like, oh man, that is so fucking devoid of any empathy or human emotion. Like, holy shit.
Right, exactly. And she tells him that she doesn't need him to keep her fucking job, but he reassures her that she does. He says, I have to think that you're invested in this transaction. She offers him an exclusive retainer and to start as a production assistant, but he doesn't want that. He says she'll probably leave the station soon because she's been there for nearly 2 years. Like he narrows down a contract. Like think about how much stalking he did here. Like to know like that at each station, like sure you can just jump onto a LinkedIn, but like still, like I don't think he had LinkedIn back then. Like he had to do some background research on her to know that like she hasn't been at each station for more than 2 years.
Right, exactly. He's got her like figured out to a T.
Right. It's a throwaway line, but man, like just imagine what went into finding that information out. Friends don't pressure friends to sleep with them. He says a friend is a gift you give yourself. Damn. Like he literally just engineered all this.
It's like this guy read The Art of the Deal by Trump. That's so weird. It's like he read Trump's book.
Oh boy. Trump finds himself into another podcast. Thanks, Colin. Rick and Lou are driving along. Lou, did you read my traffic memo? Like this guy delivers memos. They argue about the route and Rick says that he wants his raise. We find out that it's been 2 months and he's been sleeping in a garage, and like Lou just fucking manipulates this kid. He walks all over him and I feel so bad for him, dude. I'm just like, just stand up for yourself, man. Like just punch him. I don't fucking know.
Right. Do something, man. Because in order for him to hire somebody else, learn how, because Lou is a very specific person, he wants things done a very specific way, and the time and the energy and the money would save him to retrain someone and do all of this again. Like he doesn't, like he said, what Lou says about him later is kind of true. He's like, I'm starting to think that I have more faith in you than you have faith in you. And I think that's kind of true. I think that Lou kind of overestimates him a little bit. And that's why he's so caught off guard at the end of this.
Right. Totally. They head to a call that needs an air ambulance, and it turns out it's a crash plane. Lou sees that Joe's there, who's happy with himself and that Lou is late. 5 fatals exclusive.
Came screaming out of the sky, bruh.
I know. Joe says he was trying to teach Lou something. Welcome to the future, bruh.
Oh, God.
So this is about halfway, Colin. What do you say about taking a break right here, man?
Let's do it.
Fucking badass, guys. We will be back with more Nightcrawler. Do not go anywhere.
Excuse me, sir. I'm looking for a job. I'm a hard worker. I set high goals. My motto is, if you want to win the lottery, you have to make the money to buy a ticket. So what do you say? I could start tomorrow, or even why not tonight?
No, I'm not hiring.
Look first! Go around! Get a shot inside the car!
Hey, back
away.
I got it. I'm back.
Will this be on television?
Morning news. If it bleeds, it leads.
Are you currently hiring? I'm starting a TV news business.
You, get back.
I film breaking stories. Maybe you saw my item this morning with fatal carjacking.
No, I mean, I don't have a TV.
Do you have a cell phone?
Yeah.
Does it have GPS?
Yeah.
Congratulations, you're hired.
Okay. We're taking the next right. That's too fast!
Repeat the police. I will never ask you to do anything that I wouldn't do myself. Excuse me. I have something you'll be very excited about.
You have a good eye. I want you to contact me when you have something.
Something like this.
Think of our newscast as a screaming woman running down the street with her throat cut.
You will be seeing me again.
Any unit, residential 211.
A home invasion.
You gotta call the cops.
And we will, at the right time.
But I don't know what to.
We're gonna find the person that drove that car. Start filming.
I'm Detective Fanieri. I think you withheld information.
That would be a very unprofessional thing for me to do.
It would be murder.
I want what you promised me. I want something people can't turn away from.
911, what's your emergency?
We want all of this.
Oh my God!
I love to change the world.
I think Lou is inspiring all of us to reach a little higher.
What's up, guys? We are back, freshly squeezed as always, and ready to dive back into fucking Nightcrawler, man. Colin, how you doing? You're good? You're good over there?
Oh, yes.
Yes, you sound freshly squeezed for sure.
I didn't just pee. No, I'm just kidding.
So basically, we're back at Channel 6 after the debacle of the plane crash, right? They get there too late.
I don't give a fuck about a stabbing in Corona. I'm like, holy
this
shit,
is awesome, dude. Lou like gives Nina the footage, and she's fucking pissed, man. She's like, I can't use any of this in my rundown. Like you said, dude, I don't give a fuck about that. It's crazy, man. She's crazy. Like, she is so mad. Like,
well, like, not only for her, because I assume at this point they probably have like, yeah. But not only, I mean, obviously, is she rightfully fucking just pissed off at that whole situation and then not delivering on that. But I think that also Lou is like, he's like, I'm very disappointed in myself. Like, he's like, I'm asking this. He's like, I'm asking this woman to do this horrible stuff, but like, I promise to deliver something. Like, there's as much as the scene is like, we want to hate Lou, and rightfully so, we still do. But you can feel it. He's very like, man, I am so fucking let down in my potential, you know?
Right, because like immediately, like she's like, I want what you promised me. Like, you know, it's you can see it weighs very heavily on him, and like it's even more like amplified with the next scene where he's like, you know, he sees Channel 2's footage of the plane crash and it plays in the background, and man, Lou's fucking losing his goddamn mind. You know, he breaks his mirror, and like this is the shot that I was talking about. Like, it was in the trailer, and like it's just like fuck. Like this was totally unscripted, totally improvised, and it was just awesome, man. I love this. What do you think?
Oh, dude, I thought it was great. Because I mean, just that look in his eyes of him, like, because you look at stuff, Jake Gyllenhaal, look at like Source Code, Donnie Darko, fucking Zodiac, and you see all this stuff, and it's like, man, I don't think he's ever played someone that's like
unhinged.
That unhinged,
yeah.
but like aware that they're that unhinged. One thing that was interesting is Jake Gyllenhaal, you know, this was improvised and he cut himself pretty bad. You know how many stitches he had to get?
No, how many?
46 stitches. He fucking like cut himself after, I mean, I think they said it was like a 19-hour day or something. He was just fucking filming, cuts himself, and is back like 6 hours later filming. I was like, holy shit, man.
That's
like,
wild, man. That's like Leo and Django.
I know. Everybody's like, oh, Leo and Django. I'm like, dude, 46 stitches? Like, holy shit.
Yeah, man. Yeah. It's crazy. Like this is also the only time in the movie where you see Lou unhinged. Like this is, you never see him like lose control. He's always like, you know, cool, calm, and collected. But this is like, fuck, man. Like he's pissed. He's pissed at himself. It's crazy. So basically, we see Lou come out from under what we assume is Joe's van. I kind of wish that we didn't see this. Like, I wish we kind of left it a bit ambiguous that Lou causes that crash. What do you think?
Yeah, because like I think that it's something that, yeah, you could probably pick up on the fact that he had something to do with it, especially when we see the wreck and he stares at Bill Paxton and Bill Paxton looks back at him, because I think there's enough context clues there to pick up that Lou did it. Like, not to skip too far ahead, you know, but that
and the fact that they're not at that rape at Griffith Park, and like he's like, no, I want to go here.
Right, because
you know what I mean? I wish they kind of left it out. So
right. Well, not only does he know, he's like, we're heading towards this like really, really crazy wreck. For one thing, everybody's going to be all over that other story, and he wants Joe to know. He wants to look him in the eye and him know that he is the one who did it. Like, fuck, man.
Right. So Lou and Rick speed through Laurel Canyon on the way to a call. As usual, they argue about the route. Rick asks why they're not at that rape at Griffith Park like everyone else, and they pull up to the scene, and it's the Mayhem van belonging to Joe. Lou gets out and he gets coverage of the van that's been wrapped around a light pole, and Rick implores Lou not to film fucking Joe being hoisted onto a gurney, saying that he's one of us. But Lou dismisses it, saying that they're professionals and that he's a sale. Lou sees the fucking devil and the specter of death hovering over him. Sorry, Joe sees the devil and the specter of death hovering over him.
Now, here's my thing. Do you think that if Lou and Rick were in the wreck, do you think that Joe would run up and start filming this?
He strikes me as a little bit of a as kind of morally ambiguous like Lou, but not to this extent.
See, I think he has no problem, especially because it is Lou, and now they have this kind of rivalry, you know. And he's like, "No, fuck this! I'll film you all goddamn day."
Yeah. See, I don't get enough on Joe to kind of make that call. We're not gonna give enough of Joe to make that call. But like, if I had a bit more information on him, then maybe I could like guess. But I don't know. It could go either way, to be honest. So you get some awesome shots of the Challenger as it drives around. Fucking love that, man. And they get a call about a 211 in progress, an armed response at a home invasion. And this is where the movie fucking kicks into overdrive, right?
Oh, yes.
They get to the house and they beat the police there. As Lou gets closer to the house, he hears 4 gunshots. And I'm like, fuck, that's loud. Like, I literally jumped, dude. The sound design in this movie is amazing. He sees the shooters get into the car and leave. Lou enters a residence, recording everything as he goes, including the bodies of the dead inhabitants. He runs around the house knowing that he has to be quick, and he hears a music box in another room. A pants-shitting moment when you see the fucking crib, dude.
Yeah.
Jesus. We see Rick running toward Lou at the house. Lou hears one of the victims coughing, but he films him instead. Jesus Christ, man. Like, just filming him instead of helping, man. Jeez, that's fucked up. Rick wants to know what was in the house. Lou said he should have looked himself and that it would have shown initiative. Jesus Christ.
This part actually cracked me up because he's running. He's like,
yeah, they're both sprinting away. Yeah,
right. Yeah, and it's just like the fucking the dialogue between them as they're running away from a triple murder. And he's like, you know, if you were a little bit more curious, take initiative. You know, that he's like, that's what he says. Like, that's what I'm paying you to do. You need to show initiative. There's no better way to achieve job security than by making yourself an indispensable employee. Right. I heard gunshots.
but let's talk about the fact that Lou is completely unfazed about everything that just what happened. Like that what happened. He's still in manipulating this guy. He's still in the right sense of like the right frame of mind to manipulate this kid. Like, you know, like he's just saw all these dead bodies. Like it's fucked up, man. Like he didn't even flinch.
Right. Yeah. He has no like. All right. Whatever. Cool. Totally. I got it. Let's go.
They drive right by the police as they leave. That's pretty. Yeah. And we see that Lou took Joe's advice. He stops the car, cuts the footage on his laptop, and uploads it to a FTP server. He tells Nina about the home invasion, telling her that he got there before the police. They watch the footage. Lou and Nina look pleased about the footage. Again, Nina comes again, probably. And Nina calls what we assume is their legal counsel into the room, wanting to know what they can show legally. The lawyer asks whether they've been identified. She says that they can't broadcast without first notifying the next of kin. And Nina suggests pixelating their faces. So this is what I wanted to talk about. So basically, they're right. So the legal counsel, well, I can't speak for the states, they're in California, so I can't speak for the state of California. But here in New South Wales, so I pulled this up, Rule 5.6 of the Broadcasting Services Services Guidelines 2016, which was made under the Broadcasting Services Act 1992. Bear with me, guys. I gotta get this out of my fucking system.
God.
Rule 5.6, presentation of death or injury. This section applies to a program if the matter in the program is likely to include any of the following, and the only one, I'm just going to read the relevant one. So subsection 1A says images of one or more dead people. The matter should be presented as far as practicable in a way that is appropriate, having regard to the likely feelings of the of the audience and the importance of avoiding serious offense or distress. If it is practicable before the matter is broadcast, the audience should be warned about the nature of the matter, and that the warning should give a member of the audience a reasonable opportunity to avoid seeing or hearing the matter before it is broadcast. The matter should not identify directly or indirectly a victim of a violent accident or crime before the members of the victim's immediate family are notified of the accident or crime by the relevant authority. So, good, fucking props on this movie, dude. Like if this was, I mean, I'm just saying, if this was like, you know, referring to New South Wales law, I just think like doing like, dude, I cannot stress to you how annoying it is when movies get law wrong like this. Like, you know what I mean?
Right. Well, it's so steeped in the scene of what these people do. You know, what can they legally show? What can they legally get into? And I think if you're going to do a movie about just a certain type of lifestyle, like a type of career that people have, you know, if this was a movie about nurses or police officers or whatever, like there is a protocol. You have to follow that protocol. And the fact that they don't bend that, well, they're also establishing the rules of how serious this stuff is. And then we see what Lou's doing. Lou's just throwing all of that to the wind. It could not give a fuck. So it helps build, you know, because we don't know anything about this stuff. So it helps build like kind of our knowledge of it. And then to see him disregard that, it kind of spits in the face of it. It helps us appreciate those moments of him bending the law a little bit more.
Right, totally. I'm so glad that Dan Gilroy did his research before writing the script, man. Like, I love that shit. Frank says that they are beyond all broadcast standards, but Nina says she'll risk the fine. Lou wants $100K for the footage first, and then he works down to 50. Nina suggests 3,000, and they get into haggling. I know your excitement in this product is greater than the amount you're offering, Lou says. He's not happy with 10K and threatens to go to Channel 7. He convinces Nina by saying that the people escaped, people would want updates, and that they would turn to Channel 6 for the story. He wants the name of his company on the stories, meet the team, including the anchors and the director, wants to be introduced as the owner of Video Production News, and he doesn't want to haggle over price again. He also wants Nina to do whatever he wants when they're alone at her apartment, not like the last time.
God, that's fucking so... Again, it reminds me of American Psycho in the way of like when when he has those two prostitutes, and yes, dude, it's like so ominous. Like, God, man, that's fucking dark.
Just quickly, what do you reckon a guy like Lou asks for in the bedroom?
Oh God, probably eating ass, something crazy. Like something like
can I shove this candlestick up your ass?
Yeah, he's like, hey, do you mind drinking this Capri Sun off my back while I do a Sudoku? It's like, what the fuck? Like, there's some weird ass shit. Like, I want you to take a manila envelope and slice the webbings in my toes. Like,
Jesus
really
Christ,
fucking dark.
something weird. Oh boy.
God, I'm hard. No, I'm just
yeah, I'm so distracted right now. And he suggests throwing in the Joe crash for free. Jesus Christ, man. Like, he filmed that not for money. He filmed it just literally for his own gratification because he throws it in for free. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Cut to Lou meeting the anchors. I love that, like, hard cut. Like, she's, like, considering it. And then it's like, and here is Lou. Of course, they decide on the banner to say Horror House. That's so fucking news bullshit.
Oh, yeah, that sounds like that sounds like a shitty haunted house somebody throws up in, like, their backyard. Like, hey, welcome to the Horror House. And you're like, what the fuck?
Totally. They show the video warning the viewers of the graphic nature. The anchors walk the audience through the footage. I just love, like, these guys are such vultures. You can see the pistol grips on the shotgun. Like, what? What is happening?
Yeah, and the ability of, like, these anchors to just roll with whatever they're saying and go, she's like, punch it up, say it again, do it, you know, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, it's so great. How boring would this fucking be in real life to watch? How fucking boring would this be? And it really shows you what Dan Gilroy can take something that's so monotonous and make it just like,
right.
Like, oh, you're like, dude, my fucking heart is racing right now. It's crazy.
Right. Nina wants them to repeat the fact that the suspects have escaped. Like, that she has to make sure that that's in there. She wants people to come back for the updates, obviously. Joel, the reporter, says the police want to know who shot the video. And of course, Lou is eager to let them know who shot it, saying it's video production news and that they should call him. But like, again, man, it kind of like lends to the whole fact that Lou is kind of a bit out of his element there when Nina's like, he can't hear you. Like, you know what I mean?
Right. He's just like shouting at a TV.
Right. And the anchors are essentially lying about Lou stumbling onto the scene, right? Like he's saying that he was there to help.
Yeah, right. Just covering their own asses, basically.
Right, totally. Like this entire scene kind of made me feel sick the first time I saw it, man. Like I was like, I can't believe that people honestly want to watch this. Okay, but look, this is the thing. I love true crime podcasts. I am one of these people, but I don't think I could watch this on the news. Like I don't think I could sit there for like 20 minutes as they like go through this entire sequence and like, you know, it's a step too far. Also, do you reckon they would broadcast this? Like, have you ever seen anything like this on the news?
I haven't. No. Well, I mean, admittedly, I don't watch very much news, but you know, it's like maybe back in the day you could have gotten away with it a little bit more. I mean, really, when you think of like the North Hollywood shootout,
right.
I mean, that was like live on television. You know,
Yeah,
there's
definitely.
like a lot of the stuff that gets, but at the same time, it's raising the awareness of public knowledge, the fact that there is some kind of public service by letting these people know that these people haven't been apprehended. But at the same time, you can get those facts and information across and not have to show this graphic fucking video behind it.
Totally. I think from a news anchor's perspective or the news producer's perspective, it's like we need to show this footage being as graphic as we can to illustrate the seriousness of this of what happened. But like, you don't need to go this far. It's it's weird. But this says a lot about us as a society. I think.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Totally. Two detectives knock on Lou's door wanting to speak to him. They're immediately like hostile, like straight away. They're just like, they're not even like that friendly. He's questioned about the video. He sticks to the "I tried to help" story, and he gives him a description on the two men who escaped. If you're Lou, the detectives would be bad for business, right? Because let's think about the angle that he sold to Nina. He's like, well, these guys are still on the run. You know, everyone would run updates, but really the detectives are trying to catch the crooks, right? So if you're Lou, then the detectives are technically the bad guys, right?
Right, yeah, because I mean, once he gives up the fact that, oh yeah, here's these guys and here they are, blah, 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 like, it kind of ruins anything that he could set up. Like, maybe he could give them the information and then follow them and see them go catch these guys. But at this point, if he hands that over, it's like, dude, you've had this the whole time. You've been sitting on this. Like, that's like tampering with evidence. You know, that's obstruction of justice. Like, there's so much stuff that he would get caught in shit for right now. Like, he's already at the no turning back point, you know?
Right, absolutely. Lou screenshots a piece of the video which identifies the two suspects and also manages to get the license number. And he searches the license plate online, which I'm not too sure if you can do. You can't do that here.
No, I don't think you can do that.
No. He picks up Rick and tells Rick about the suspects and the person who was alive in the house. He tells Rick that they're going to the suspect's address. I'm going to read this. So, I'm offering you a real opportunity here, Rick. Jesus. He tells Rick that a moment has arrived for the company to get enough money to expand. He calls it a critical moment. He gives Rick his performance review, telling him about his enthusiasm, innovative thinking, and that he inspires him. And he promotes him to executive VP of video news. And I just love like Rick's response, "What am I now?"
Yeah, exactly. He's like, "What am I now?" He's like, "An assistant." He's like, that's big.
And dude, the poor bastard, right? He decides out of all of the numbers on $75 a night.
Dude, that's 45 than you're making now. What the fuck?
But like, you know what? You can hear him like start to spit out 100, and then he's like, no, I'm not that confident on that. I'll go for 75. And then he's just like, what about more? Like, you know, it's fucking, He's a piece of shit about the reward money as well, Lou. He's like, bonuses come at the end of the year.
Yeah, I love that shit. He's like, I could have gotten a more, couldn't I? Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, totally. He tells Rick that they're going to wait and then follow him and then report him to the police when he's in a more populated place. And Rick, he's not happy with this. He asks for a lot more money. So basically what happens here is like Rick keeps pushing and pushing and pushing Lou. And Lou, you don't see him at one particular moment decide that he's going to get rid of Rick. But all of this is kind of like leading up to that, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think, yeah, once he starts, yeah, we'll get into it. But yeah,
he blackmails Lou.
Right, yeah. Well, once he kind of puts Lou into a corner where Lou doesn't have any way to like bargain his way out of it, that's when it's like, no, that's fucked up. Like to Lou's fucked up weird code of like business honor. Like that's where he's like, no, you fuck with me, you're literally you're trying to destroy me. It's like, so the gloves are off. You want to try to destroy me? I'll destroy you.
Right, totally. Yeah, so Lou gives Rick the standard speech about the experience over money, which I've heard a million times in my fucking short career. And Rick blackmails Lou, telling him that he'll call the cops if he doesn't get more money. And he asks for half. And after more arguing, Lou agrees begrudgingly. And Rick tells Lou that he doesn't understand people, which is important, I think. It's an important line. And it's totally true. Like like Rick has totally pegged Lou. And they sit outside the apartment. Sometime later, one of the suspects leaves the apartment and gets into a car. They tail him to a pickup spot where the guy picks up the other dude, and they take off again. This is tense, by the way, man. Like, just like when they're following them. Oh, and Rick's scared. He's just like, they're gonna see us. We're in a red fucking car. Totally. Like, I would fucking pick that car out from like a mile away.
Well, one thing I don't get is when he follows him to that Chinese restaurant and he calls it in. He uses his real name. I'm like, dude, make a fake name. Like, it's like, isn't it kind of suspicious that you're the one like calling it in? Like I don't know. I just think that's really odd. I mean, I guess either way, he's gonna, how could anybody else positively identify those guys except for Lou?
Because in his excuse later, he says that I went in and then I noticed them and then because he has to also explain how he got to the area so quickly.
Right. Yeah. He's like, he's giving them that whole BS story, but I don't know. I was just like, dude, I fully expected him just to be like, okay, here's the phone, you call it in, and Rick to be like, what the fuck? No, I'm not calling it in.
Yeah. I'm actually surprised he didn't use Rick as a patsy, but I honestly thought he was first time I saw this, but turns out he's got much worse plans for Rick, right?
Oh yeah, dude, fucked up.
So fucked up. Lou tells Rick to keep his window down. I don't know why. He asked him like twice to keep his window down. It's weird.
Plus, what if the problem is not that I don't understand people, but that I don't like them? Like, God,
right.
Man.
Yeah, right. Like, that's totally coming up, man. Like, I fucking love this moment. Like, they stop and Lou reports the triple murder, saying they pulled into a restaurant, very much on the heavy side. He gives them the description, adding the detail that they have the gun, which is important. And Lou hears the call come over the police scanner. As per his call, there's people in there. Our count 6, says Lou. Rick refuses to go and film from down the street, saying he doesn't believe anything that Lou says. Oh, God, I love this. Do you know I've never sworn in front of an employer? What if
that fucking matters.
Yeah, I know. Like, what if my problem isn't that I don't understand people, but that I don't like them? What if I was obliged to hurt you for something like this? Rick gets out and eventually walks down the street because that would scare the shit out of me if someone started saying that. A police car turns up. Dude, talk about tension, right? Like, this is so fucking good. Police car turns up. Lou and Rick, what were you about to say, Colin?
Well, no, I was going to say a lot of these, like what I love, especially when they're doing these, when they're doing their night crawling and stuff, there's almost no aerial views of the city, which is crazy because when you have something set in Chicago, LA, New York, wherever, there's usually a lot of like overhead sweeping kind of like drone shots, and they never do that because that's not really where a story takes place. We're on the ground. We're in the heat of it. We're in the trenches like most of the time. And I love these like wide angled shots that they put on a lot of stuff, and it just shows you the city is a character in itself. It's living, it's breathing. It's not just our backdrop. We've got Rick, we've got the two guys committing the murder. We've got Lou, and we've got the city like all right there. It's like a whole other character in its own thing.
Absolutely, man. It definitely takes place in the underbelly of LA, and it's just like you said, it's a living, breathing thing. But yeah, basically, a police car turns up. Lou and Rick watch them walk inside, filming everything. Lou sees one of the suspects going for his gun as Rick sees more units start to arrive. And dude, shit just pops off. Like, this is awesome. This is such a great sequence. A car chase initiates. Lou says, "Did you get it?" And Rick just says, "There's dead people in there," because that's what a normal person would say in that situation.
Yeah, and I love that when we see all the shots getting fired. Again, like, we're not watching it. We don't actually see it. We see it through their cameras. And it's almost like when you're playing a video game and you're seeing it in a movie or watching it on the news or whatever, because it's like not there right in front of you. It's kind of like a buffer zone, and you don't feel what you would feel if you were just looking at it with your naked eye, or if you were in the situation. Like, in a weird way, it kind of reminds me of the Blair Witch Project at one point, like when they're lost for days. He's like, I see why you like this thing, because it's like not real life. And that I think that's important with what they're doing. It's the buffer between what's really going on and how they're perceiving it. That's why I think why it's easy for someone like Lou to not be emotionally entangled in this stuff, because it's like a filter for which he sees things. It's vicariously he's living through this by watching this stuff. I love that.
Totally. Blair Witch Project, by the way, good pull, bro.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Lou follows the pursuit, ordering Rick to start filming. This is so well shot, man. I love this sequence. It's just beautiful visually.
Apparently Gyllenhaal did a lot of this driving.
Yeah, and that's wild, man. There is some crazy stunt driving in this sequence. And even before, like they've sped through the streets of LA so many fucking times. It's crazy. It's great driving sequences. But yeah, awesome stunts with the Challenger, man. Awesome sound design. I love the sound of that engine. Police car in front of them fucking gets T-boned. Lou doesn't fucking bat an eye, man. Did you notice that? Like, Lou just keeps on driving. Oh.
Doesn't even fucking blink.
The only time that he blinks is the next fucking pile up. Jesus Christ. Massive collision. Police car goes flying. Suspect vehicle's overturned, and Lou just kind of does that little yell.
Oh yeah, dude. It's fucking incredible, man.
Totally. Lou gets out with his camera, sees the suspect dead, and tells Rick to get the shot. But he's not dead, is he, Colin?
Oh no, dude. So fucked up, man. Because I don't know how to describe that. Like it's so, when you first see it, like, because I was this is only about the second time I've ever seen this, and I remember how it went down, but I was like, oh yeah, that guy's dead. Like, whatever. Like I did not see this coming the first time. I was like, okay, whatever. This dude will be dead and blah blah, and this will happen. But it was like, man, this is really really fucked up.
So fucked up, man. Like, this is next level. Suspect fires 4 shots and kills Rick, and I'm just like, Jesus! And Lou fucking records all of it, dude, including the police shooting the suspect dead. Like, Jesus Christ, like, I don't know how the fuck that guy thought he could get away, but all right.
Dude, you got like 5 or 6 stars on you right now. You're gonna have to fucking like go into a building somewhere, punch in a cheat code. Does part of this not feel like Grand Theft Auto at some
totally
points?
Does.
Like,
because it's LA as well. Yeah, I think that.
I was gonna say
down.
Also, speaking of Grand Theft Auto, I mean, you're familiar with the North Hollywood shootout. We were just talking about that.
Hell yeah.
Case File has a great episode about that. That's where I listen to that shit.
It. Yeah, it's fantastic. Case File just dropped a new episode as well. Like, by the way, guys, check out that podcast. It's called Case File.
Yes.
It is addicting as fuck.
Well, the film's climax was filmed on Laurel Canyon Boulevard in the San Fernando Valley, only several blocks away from the location of the infamous shootout in 1997 between 2 heavily armed bank robbers and LA police, in which both robbers were killed. So it's just a couple blocks away from the LA shootout. I was like, fuck, man, that's crazy.
That's insane, man. And I cannot recommend that podcast highly enough.
Yeah, you fucking Aussies got to stick together.
Yeah, hell yeah, man. Fucking brethren right here. Mates. We're fucking mates. Lou walks over to Rick and records him as he's dying. I can't jeopardize my company's success to retain an untrustworthy employee. You took my bargaining power, using it against me. Holy fuck, man. That is dark. At Channel 6, Lou is friendly with everyone, saying hi. I can tell by your tie it's Friday. That smile that he gives that anchor, ugh, wild.
Oh, dude, that is like one of the most iconic shots of the whole movie. I remember that from the trailer. Just him. Yeah. Oh man, that should be like the Steelbook Blu-ray cover of this fucking movie. Like, holy shit.
Yeah, he's very unsettling, even when he tries to be friendly. Lou shows Nina the footage. She says that she's floored by the amazing footage, and she tells tells Lou to basically name his price, right? Fuck.
This is where the thing with Nina starts to get crazy, because like I'm way more sympathetic to her like earlier on. Like I still think her situation, everything that's going on with Lou is just is so fucked up, and that she wouldn't be doing the things with Lou that she doesn't want to do if she didn't have to do them. But because I was like, I wanted kind of like a woman's point of view, because Lindsay and I were watching this. I was like, does she seem like she's like weirdly into this now? And Lindsay's like, yeah. She's like, kinda. She's like, it definitely seems like she doesn't have as much of a problem with it as she did before. Like maybe the physical stuff still, but like I think at this point, and there's something interesting that you said earlier, because I kind of thought about this too. Like Lou is a black hole. Like yes, like Lou is sucking these people in and just turning them into whatever. But like these people are like I don't know. Like even though Lou is this horrible just kind of appearance in their lives, in a weird way, like what they pay for emotionally and morally, like their lives benefit from in gold. You know, like you kind of see Rick. He's got like the better like hoodie on. He's getting better with the camera. His confidence is building up. We also see Nina. You know, her ratings are going through the roof. This is going to be great for her. Like even though there's all these people that like we want to look at Rick or Lou and be like, yeah, that's fucked up. You're a fucked up person. Like he is, for better or for worse, motivating these people around him. Like he's motivating them to do the things that he wants them to do. And it's not like, yeah, he plays a fucked up hand and he's making her do these things, but at the same time, towards the end of the movie, she's kind of falling into this with him. Like she herself is becoming this black hole. Yeah, and same thing with Rick. I think Rick's probably one of the most innocent characters in it, but we see it get the better of him. He becomes like he knows like what he's worth. He becomes kind of greedy about that. And that's the thing, is like Rick inspires these people in the worst ways to become the worst things possible.
Lou, you said Rick.
Oh yeah, sorry. God damn it.
Rick can't inspire anyone.
Right. Well, yeah. It's like every time I hear fucking Rick, I'm just thinking, hey, Morty, you got hand me the screwdriver, Morty.
Rick.
Oh, fuck. Oh. It'd be so funny as Riz Ahmed's dying on the ground. He's just like, oh, fuck, shit, fuck. I'm fucking dying, Rick, fuck.
I'm fucking dying here. Yeah, man, I totally agree. Like, it's the nature of this character to kind of like the same way he tries to achieve a means to an end. Like, it's got this like other effect of like negatively influencing. Yeah, negatively influencing everyone around him. Like that is honestly the definition of what a black hole person can do, and that's it's fantastic, man. It's just so well written. But yeah, man. So the detectives want the footage confiscated, saying that it's evidence. Nina tells the detective to get a judge's order, and Frank talks to Nina, telling her that there was apparently cocaine in wrapped packages at the Granada Hills house, over 50 pounds. It apparently is a drug robbery. She says that it detracts from the story. The story is about urban crime seeping into the suburbs, and that Lou is inspiring all of us to reach a little higher. What do you think about that?
Oh, fuck, dude. That's what I'm saying, though. Like I could understand it if she were just like, because it's not as interesting as a character. If she were to continue just with this, like, well, fuck Lou, and Lou's a piece of shit, and he's making me do this, and I can't run that story, even though that is the truth, because he's forcing me into do this. Because I think it creates more of an interesting character when it's like, whoa, like she doesn't have a problem with this anymore. Because I think that once they have that kind of like where he's like, you're the vampire shift on the lowest rated network, it kind of opens that up. She's like, yeah, you're right, I am. Like as much as it's fucked up, like what he's doing to her. I mean, just like basically having non-consensual sex through intimidation, like that is I mean, one of the most fucked up things you can do to an individual. But like that scene between them, where he's like, she's like, what do you want for it? He's like, what are you willing to give? She's like, anything, blah, blah, blah. Like, because now I think she's starting to, her morals are just going out the window. She's starting to understand now, like, this is what you got to do. Like, if like what am I going to lose? What do I lose by doing this? I'm going to lose the last job I'm going to get at a TV station. She's going to wind up fucking working at some Kroger or something like that, bagging groceries or as a cashier, and that'll just be the end of this career. That apparently, I mean, she's been in this game for I would say a couple of decades.
Oh, totally.
She's been doing
seems
this for
totally
a while.
Experienced. But like she's gonna lose nothing professionally, but morally, man, like she's also picking what to tell the public. Like she's choosing what news to report. And dude, if that's not godlike powers, then I don't know what is.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. Like if it doesn't make for it as interesting as a character if she just flat out said, "Hey, yeah, that is the news, but I can't run that now because this guy's pulling my arm and making me do this." She's like, "No, I want to run this story now because it's in my best interest to continue doing this, not only for this weird relationship that I've got going on with Lou, but just in terms of my job in general. Like, I can't lose this. I can't go somewhere else and lose this kind of thing. Like, I don't really have anything to lose, but I have so much to gain if I continue down this path." Like, holy shit, that is fucking dark.
Totally, dude. Like, the fact that she made that decision of her own accord is fucked up. The detectives interview Lou. He comments on the wide angle of the CCTV. That was fucking weird, man. Like, he's so into this that he can't, like...
Oh, yeah.
And basically he bullshits. The detective thinks that he withheld information. She basically nails exactly what happened, right? Like, he acknowledges that it was that it would be unprofessional. Like, but she like fully guesses like everything. Like she's onto him. Like, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
He exits the station, past the police car, hearing the scanner, and smiles to himself. And God, he even walks weird, dude.
Dude, what movie ending does this remind you of?
Yeah, Kaiser Soze at the end of Usual
Yes.
Suspects. Yeah,
dude.
Like, I'm glad I got away with it, assholes. Yeah,
right. And the fucking, like you said, the weird walk, the
pan up from the shoes.
Exactly.
To the, yeah. I was like,
dude,
I fucking was hoping you'd have this, man.
Oh yeah. As soon as I saw it, I was like, dude, this feels. I was expecting just to see his leg like turn like outverted from being in, and him like get a gold flick lighter out. I was like, wait, what the fuck? But yeah, total Usual Suspects, man.
Yeah, let's not talk about that movie anymore.
Yeah, no. We want to talk about Lou as this like terrible guy who makes people have sex with him. They're like, and then there's Kevin Spacey,
and then there's Bryan Singer.
Yeah. Oh God, man.
We see Lou welcoming his new employees. Man, these fucking poor assholes have no idea what they're in for. I can tell you from experience that the way up the ladder is to follow my orders. I will never ask you to do anything that I wouldn't do myself.
Ooh,
what a way to end
should
it.
Be the that should be the tagline for the movie. It really should.
Man, totally. Fuck me, man. That's Nightcrawler, dude. What a fucking movie,
dude. And I tell you one more thing. This is the last little bit of trivia I got. Yeah. During a Q&A, director Dan Gilroy stated that he views Lou's insane drive as a quote-unquote infection that spreads to each character Lou interacts with throughout film, like we were talking about being a fucking black hole.
Black hole, yeah.
At the closing of the film, where Lou's company vans are parting ways down different streets, at the closing of the film, where Lou's company vans are parting ways down different streets, as Gilroy describes, it's an infection spreading through the veins of the city.
Oh, nice.
I'm like, oh, yeah, because I was wondering, I was like, dude, what is this? Is this like a dual path thing? Like what's going on with the shot at the end?
Yeah, I was wondering why he held on that shot for so long. The fork in the road.
Right. I mean, and that's what's great about film. Interpret it any way that you want. This is like, here is like, look to the right. This is Lou's path. This is what Lou is doing. Look to the left. You don't have to do this, but like, if you want to get anywhere in a world like this, you're going to have to do some fucked up shit to get ahead.
Totally. Yeah, but everyone else's interpretation's wrong. Sorry, guys, we're right. We are right.
Yeah, right. We are a midnight double feature. Fuck you.
Yeah, man, I am so glad to have covered this movie. Like, I was just like, God damn, let's get this on the board, dude. Like, we gotta talk some fucking Nightcrawler. But this movie's fucking awesome, dude. Colin, give me your closing thoughts, dude.
Man, I really don't have that much. I mean, just that again, one of the most underrated movies of the last 10 years. I'm hoping that when Velvet Buzzsaw comes out, I hope that really fucking takes off, because I feel like that's getting more advertising than Nightcrawler ever did.
Totally.
Like I've heard a lot of buzz about like Velvet Buzzsaw, and I mean, definitely some of that is coming off of the back of Nightcrawler. But I hope that reignites, people go back and they're like, oh, hey, this guy's done something before. Jake Gyllenhaal, Rene Russo, Nightcrawler. What's this movie? And I hope that kind of reignites the love for the movie, because I mean it just has so much untapped like potential, and I think that as time will come, it'll get its day in the sun. We'll see it we'll see those seeds really come to fruition. Especially like you said, as we move forward as a society with people always having cameras out and filming stuff and things like that. But yeah, I'm gonna say I mean it's definitely a 10 out of 10. I think this is damn near a perfect movie. I don't have any really there's no character choices that I question. There's no well, why does he do this? Why doesn't he just do that? Blah blah blah. There's really none of that. It's a simple movie, $8 million budget, made like $50 million back, which is, I mean, what a great success for a first time director. And I want to see some more of what Dan Gilroy does, and I think that this speaks volumes about the stuff that Jake Gyllenhaal can do. You know, he's not just the handsome brown-haired 5'10" white leading man that people probably, you know, he's not just Prince of Persia. You know, he can go out and do some shit, and I think that those small forays he did into those kind of movies are enough to send him back, just to be like, no, I can't do shit like that. But you know, I'm really excited to see what he does in Homecoming. He looks fucking awesome in Homecoming. And I think it's awesome that he's in Far From Home, not Home, whatever. Fuck. But
I didn't want all the Marvel nerds to get on your back, dude. I'm saving your ass here.
Thank you. God, I'm sorry. I'm getting emails right now. But I think it's ironic that he's in Far From Home as a villain, because he was like so close to becoming Spider-Man earlier on. So fucking close. So it's really cool to see what's going on with that. I've heard there might be setting something up with the Sinister Six and Spider-Man, because you've already got the Vulture, and then you've got Scorpion. You've got Mysterio. So Scorpion, you know, like some super interesting stuff. But either way, I fucking love this movie. I think it's great. I cannot suggest this movie enough to people, and I hope that someday, you know, I can say that it's no longer underrated, but for now, you know, it needs to get some more views under its belt. I hope that this really takes off and people can come back in time to see this. Maybe Dan Gilroy makes a movie in 5 years that just blows everybody away, and hopefully this gets a little bit more recognition than it's got right now.
Totally, dude. This movie's alright. No, man. I'm gonna double down on your 10 out of 10, dude. Like this movie's a masterpiece. Like there's no other way.
I'm gonna double down. It's a 20 out of 10. It's a 20 out of 20.
You guys, this just got a perfect 20 out of 20 score from Midnight Double Feature. So definitely watch this movie if you haven't already. And to be honest, why the fuck are you here if you haven't watched this movie? Like you just listen to us talk for fucking 20 hours about this movie.
Yeah.
But no, man, it is a great fucking acting vehicle for Gyllenhaal, man. Like he gets to display a whole range of shit, things that I didn't really think that this guy was capable of. Like I wasn't always high on Jake Gyllenhaal. I always liked him, but I never really kind of thought, you know, holy fuck, this guy's amazing. But once I saw him in this and Prisoners, I was like, all right, this kid's in a fucking league of his own, man. Like this guy's awesome.
Oh, and fucking End of Watch. That's a really good one too. That was right before this, so he was beefed up and then dropped all that down. I was like, damn, son.
By the way, that movie's fucking badass, man. David Ayer,
it's
fucking
good.
Awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. Moving away from the acting and all that, this movie, this is one of the best scripts I've ever seen in my life. Like this is such a well written, tight script. But dude, did you notice this movie was 2 hours long and it didn't feel like 2 hours at all?
No, maybe I would have said an hour and a half tops.
Right, totally. And I was like, wow, this just flew by. And you enjoy a movie, you're invested in a movie when the fucking running time just flies by, man. It's fantastic. But the way the movie's directed, the way everyone's told to do things, the way it's shot, the music, the score by fucking James Newton Howard is fucking fantastic, man. If you haven't already, definitely watch this movie. And I'd recommend it to everyone. Get this movie out there. Like you said, Colin, I don't think enough people have seen this. Although it made, what do you say, $50 million on an $8 million budget?
Yeah.
That's a lot, but it's still pretty minuscule. And it's fine. I guess it's you know what it is, man? Like, this is an Oscar movie. This is technically an Oscar movie. Like, it came out in like January, February, which is like the time of the Oscar movies. But this anyone can watch this. This is not a movie that's kind of like up its own ass like a lot of Oscar movies are. This is such a fucking thrilling movie, and it's just a movie that just makes you question your morals, and you kind of get lost in this character of Lou. Can't recommend it highly enough, dude. But man, that's Nightcrawler. Guys, I'm Colin. I'm about to plug the socials once more before we get out of here. Do you have anything else you want to say?
No, not at all. You go right ahead.
Fantastic. Guys, we are Midnight Double Feature. We have 2 pages on Facebook. That's Midnight Double Feature, and then we have the After Party, so be sure to join both. And we also have the Instagram page, which is at Midnight Double Feature, and we have the Twitter page, which is at MDF Pod. You can find us on Spotify, YouTube, and iTunes, wherever you find all the good podcasts. Yeah, like we've got some shit in the can. We've got, our upcoming attractions coming up. We've got our episode on the Prestige about to drop as well. So guys, we hope you stick around for those, and we will see you next time.